A couple moved into a charming old house nestled in the woods, excited to start their new life. For the first 30 days, everything seemed perfect. The house was quiet, almost too quiet, but they brushed it off as the peacefulness of their new surroundings. They spent their days decorating, getting to know their neighbors, and enjoying the serene environment. But on the 31st day, things started to change. It began subtly, with small, almost imperceptible disturbances. Doors that were closed would be found ajar, and lights would flicker for no apparent reason. The couple chalked it up to the house being old, perhaps in need of some electrical work, but as the days went by, the disturbances grew more unsettling. At night, they would hear faint whispers echoing through the halls, but when they would investigate, they found nothing. Their once peaceful sanctuary started to feel ominous, like it was holding a secret just beneath the surface. By the 40th day, the house had taken on a life of its own. Shadows seemed to move on their own, darting across walls and floors. The whispers had grown louder, almost as if they were trying to communicate something. But the words were indistinguishable. One night, while lying in bed, the couple heard a loud crash from the basement. Rushing downstairs, they found nothing out of place, but the air was thick with a sense of dread. The basement, which they had rarely used, suddenly felt menacing, as if something was lurking just out of sight. The most terrifying incident occurred on the 45th day. The couple was sitting in the living room when they heard the unmistakable sound of footsteps. But it wasn't just the sound that was frightening. It was the weight of the steps, as if something massive was moving slowly across the floor. The husband grabbed a flashlight, and together, they cautiously ascended the stairs. As they reached the top, the footsteps stopped abruptly. They stood in silence, the beam of the flashlight trembling in the husband's hand. Suddenly, the hallway light flickered, and for a brief moment, they saw a dark figure standing at the end of the corridor. It was tall, with a distorted, shadowy form that seemed to pulse with malevolence. And then, as quickly as it appeared, it vanished, leaving the couple paralyzed with fear. That night, the couple decided they could no longer stay in the house. They packed a few essentials and fled to a nearby hotel. The next morning, they returned to find the house eerily quiet, as if nothing had happened, but they knew better. Whatever was in that house wasn't done with them. As they drove away, they could feel unseen eyes watching them, and the whispers followed them, growing fainter until they finally faded into the distance. The couple never returned to the house, and it eventually fell into disrepair, abandoned by all who knew of its sinister history. But locals say that if you stand close enough to the property, you can still hear the whispers, and at night, the shadowy figure can be seen roaming the halls, waiting for its next victims.